Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday night, and it is time for the Mile High Podcast. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Glorious Hair and all, James Castelaw, James Thomas, as we love to call him here, back on the show. James, what's up, man?
What's up? Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm glad to be back.
It was a terrible introduction, let's be honest. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It was still an introduction. It's better than me just talking without any kind of prompt. That seems presumptuous. But no, it's good to be back. I'm happy to be back doing the show. I think it's going to be a fun. We're going to do a James's Games, which will be fun. And we're going to talk about Disney because if I'm here, we have to talk about Disney. So, no, I'm super excited, Dave. Thanks for
And you're dressed for a Disney conversation.
And I dress in Disney all the time. Every scrub I own is a Disney character, except one pair, which is just basic black, and I wear my Disney jacket over it. So, and I got Disney on my watch, Mickey's on my watch. I'm always Disney. And we'll talk about why that's weird in a second, but I'll let you finish your introductions of the show.
That was pretty much it.
All right,
well, introduction. Because you're like, so I've been hosting the show for like 3 months. Yeah, who's a strange person talking? No, I've been hosting the show since you bowed out. Like, you took your time off, and I've been hosting the show. But like, you're the host of the show. I'm just the clever sidekick. So I'm handing the reins over to you, seeing if you can pick up right where you left off.
All right. Well, then from the Potter Girls podcast, thank you so much for showing up and being Arthur for this evening. Christy, how are you doing today?
Yay, third wheel.
Hey, we're a tricycle.
Tricycles don't worry. If you don't have the third wheel on a tricycle, you're just a bike. So
I like that statement.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do tonight, we're gonna play James' game, like I said, but we're gonna talk about Disney because there's some Disney things that I'm sure we've watched. There is a lot going on with Disney. Instead of doing touch basing on what we're doing, we'll bring it up in the conversation, but I want to go right into it. This week, the craziest shit happened. So, like, conservative, and if you don't like politics, then you're stuck because we had to talk about this because I love it. Conservative America this week has decided that they are going to war with Disney. Now, let me remind you, they went to war with the NFL. They went to war with NASCAR. They went to war with 1,000 different Nike. You know what I mean? I think they were at war with Adidas at one time. They hated Kirk for a while.
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, they've gone to war with a lot of things, but nothing. The NFL's a juggernaut. So is NASCAR, but Disney is big. Listen, I just watched Turning Red. Have you guys seen Turning Red?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I've only seen the previews, sorry.
Well, without ruining anything, one of the pandas is a very normal size panda. Most of the pandas are very normal size panda. But there's one like fucking super huge panda. Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah. So that's what Disney is, and they're going after Disney. So I just find that absolutely hilarious, and I want to know what you guys think of that. And Christy, what do you think? What do you think about this push to go after Disney?
Well, I've been pretty outspoken about my feelings about the conservative cancel culture, mostly because they are afraid to own it. You're allowed to watch what you want to watch, and that's fine. But banning books and trying to cancel things like Disney over this stuff where there's some semblance of inclusivity is your problem, then it's just laughable at this point. Nobody can take them serious. They have no real argument, no leg to stand on. It's pathetic. There's a lot of things I don't like, so I don't give them my money. It's not that hard. They just need to stand up for things that are really wrong. This is just such a stupid argument to be having. It's just pathetic.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that what I think part of it is doing is that they've just gotten so used to, and we're not going to touch the Q stuff. We're not going to touch the far out crazy. We're going to try to pull it back to as classical conservatism as we can with this. We're not even going to mess with the Q stuff. But I think what really is going on here to a certain degree is like Ron DeSantis is clearly right wings medias, they don't want Trump to run for president again. They like Trump. He's a good lightning rod. But Ron DeSantis is their boy. That's who they want to run in 2024. They're going to put everything behind him. And I'm going to throw something else out there that hasn't been really been said, but in our new era of businessmen going into politics and being effective politicians, there is another side of this, which is Bob Iger would be an extremely effective politician. I don't know if I want him to be president, but he'd be one hell of a governor of Florida. You know what I mean? So if you can tarnish the Disney brand by boosting up Ron DeSantis, I mean, that's a political play. What do you think of that political play, Dave? Is that a smart one? Are they going against the right behemoth here?
Are you kidding me? Like, Disney's like the dumbest company to go up against. They are fucking the most powerful entertainment company in the world right now. I mean, why pick? And this is the thing I don't get is like they pick the fights with like the biggest fucking companies. Like,
right.
All you're gonna do is look dumb. The reasons are completely invalid. You know, it's just like, why go up against Disney? Disney, like, all these fucking dudes that are like all pissed off, like DeSantis himself is like, they're going and fucking watching Doctor Strange when it comes out in a month. You know, they're watching Spider-Man. They don't care. They don't hold themselves to their own morals. They're just, out there bitching and moaning to bitch and moan, and they're completely ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous.
No, I would agree with that. But I want to look at one of the things I want to look at really realistically, because I watch almost all the new Disney movies, and there's an argument of classical conservative. I just watched Turning Red last night. And I started thinking, like, I started noticing a big pushback from like Frozen on, you know what I mean? And if you see what they represent a little different after Frozen is she wasn't going to follow the rules. Then you get Wreck-It Ralph or Penelope isn't going to go within her thing. Turning Red, where the daughter is not, it's because if you go into these classical Christian conservative value family houses, you respect your parents. Disney has really pushed they used to kill parents, and now they let parents live, and they make them sideline characters and grandparents villains. And so, like, I see there's the argument of that. Turning Red is about puberty. You know what I mean? There's no two ifs, ands, or two ways about it. But they've always told puberty stories. It may be a little bit more on the nose now, but they've always told the story. So I think there's a level of representation that if you put in a classic conservative era, I see why they are mad about it. They've been mad at Disney before. They're historically been mad at Disney. I think this would be less of a problem had they not changed the redhead in Pirates of the Caribbean. If they haven't talked about getting rid of Splash Mountain to a new overlay that isn't Song of the South. If they hadn't done these representative woke things, which they should do. I'm not suggesting they hadn't, but if that hadn't happened, this would have passed like every other movie and every other thing that goes on. They can't just be in support of the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. So they have to put things that I imagine conservatives would complain about as why they're doing it. And so I just don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think it's going to affect their bottom line. But I do expect it to get bigger than it is today. I mean, what do you guys think? You think this is going to get big?
No, it's just a kerfuffle that'll go away, in the next news cycle. You fucking worked at Disney, like, that they are the Florida economy. Mm-hmm. So if they're gonna like piss off Disney that bad, they can start pulling assets out of Florida. And then where would Florida be? It'd just be a fucking swamp with a bunch of hillbillies. I mean, like, Florida, Disney and Florida are so synonymous with each other. It doesn't make sense.
It's the Ready Creek. Disney has the ability to make their own laws, basically, in the land that they own. And that's one of the big threats they're trying to do to Disney is about rolling back that stuff. But what people don't understand, none of those other counties that are around Disney want to incorporate that shit and try to figure out how to put it within their budget and work with Disney on rerouting a river because you're about to build a spaceship hotel. You know what I mean? Like, none of them want to do that. So I think it's a lot of empty threats. I think it's a lot of posturing. Yeah. I think, This is the biggest crazy idea I thought them going after. You want to go after NFL? I thought it might work. Maybe NASCAR. Maybe NASCAR should have worked. Their protest in NASCAR should have worked. They couldn't even do that in a thing that is predominantly followed by conservative people. So I just think it's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
With that said, let's talk about some Disney stuff or other stuff we watch, because I know Dave always likes to tell us what he's seeing new. And I know he specifically wants to talk about one show that he just saw. So Dave, what have you watched recently that you want to talk about?
So many things, man. So many things since you've been gone. When you left and took your time off, this is pre-Encanto. Like, we've already been through the whole Encanto phenomenon, right. And now we have moved on. And Disney drops in a fucking amazing show, Moon Knight, which is Marvel's version of Batman with what the fuck's his name? I smoked it away. Christy, what's his name? Oscar Isaacs. Thank you.
Oscar.
Fucking Oscar Isaacs as Moon Knight. He was so fucking good in that show. I mean, plays a guy with multiple personalities, and he played each of them fucking brilliantly. And I am so excited. The episode 2 drops tomorrow. This is going to be a 6-episode series. It was fucking great. So I highly recommend Moon Knight. And I'm going to keep it at that. I'm going to keep it short. Because there's so much shit. I could take up the whole show with stuff I've been watching.
I enjoyed Moonlight as well. I don't know much about the story ahead of time. So it was kind of discombobulated for me to watch it as a person who doesn't know the character. But it was all right. It was better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier in my book. What about you, Christy? Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna wait until it's all out and then just watch it like all in one day. But I did go see a movie this weekend, which is news because it's only the second movie I've seen since the start of COVID, so it was kind of a big deal.
Nice. What movie did you go see?
Bobby and I went and saw The Lost City with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, nice.
It's wonderful, guys.
I love anything with Channing Tatum, any kind of comedy with Channing Tatum. Oh, I'm in for.
I've decided it is my new favorite Channing Tatum movie. He's so funny in 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. I love his dancing and Step Up. This is all of it. He's so cute. He's so funny. And there's even a little bit of dancing. Sandra Bullock was great. She just has so many other great movies. I can't say it's my favorite movie for her, but it was so good.
How Romancing the Stone was it? How much did you feel like you were watching Romancing the Stone? Because that's what the trailer gives.
You're not wrong. It's been ages since I've seen Romancing the Stone, but I have seen it before. That's Michael Douglas, right?
Right. And Kathleen
Turner.
Yeah, I mean, there's a hint of adventure in it. It's probably kind of a cliche storyline, but it's just so well done. It's funny, and like Brad Pitt has a fantastic cameo. It's just top notch.
Nice. I like a fun movie. I like a movie that's very simple, fun, to the point. Even, I don't know if you guys ever watched Saturday Night Live, but they just did a thing about short ass movies.
Yeah, short.
And their last movies. Yeah, and I do. I like a story that is all encompassing. You can get it. It's fun. You don't have to think too much. It's not necessarily part of a giant multiverse where you need to know a whole bunch of other shit.
No, and like Bobby and I, like we were laughing, like in tears laughing. Like it wasn't just like a like it was laughing. No drugs or alcohol or anything involved. Just straight up having a good time.
That says a lot. I'm trying to think about the last time I went to a movie and just laughed. Like, I think the biggest laugh time I ever had in a movie, I have to be honest, and it seems so dumb now, and there's probably a lot of wrong jokes, was when I saw the first Austin Powers in the theater. I probably laughed more at that movie than I can think of any other movie that I'd seen in the theater. The whole theater laughed at more of that movie than I can think of. So, I've yet to be to a theater. Everything I need, I stream everything. You know. What's that, Dave?
The movie that got the most laughs. The movie that got the most laughs when I went and saw it was The Hangover. That was big laughs from The Hangover.
I can see that.
Definitely.
I don't think I saw that in the theaters.
That's a movie you can't watch now.
Yeah.
You can't watch that movie now. The Hangover. It's so bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that kind of you watch. I mean, you can watch and you can kind of appreciate, but it's not. It's weird because I agree with you. There are so many bad things about The Hangover. I think Blazing Saddles is a safer movie to watch than The Hangover nowadays, which is crazy. but it was maybe just how jokes were done at a different time.
No, I still enjoy Robin Hood Men in Tights. I still think it's funny.
Yep.
It's not always appropriate, but
yeah, it's funny.
I tried to watch the beginning of I started watching the beginning of Chasing Amy, and I'm like, damn, this was woke at one point. You know what I mean? Like this shook up the right. They're like, oh my God. And now you look back at it and you're like, oh God, you say some of those things. What's a Nubian? Like, it just doesn't, it's tough. It's the past.
Yeah.
I tell my kids all the time, the past is racist and horrible. That's all there is to it. Yesterday was racist and horrible. Today will have been racist and horrible. Everything in the past is a horrible, horrible, dark place.
Yes.
So, with that,
I tell my kids that too.
that's all you can do. You're like, hey guys. I mean, you just
there's no way around it.
Right. The past is bad. Some of it's funny to watch, but All right, with that, I want to play the game. I got a game here. And so I did what I normally do. The great thing about James's games is I set them all up on my rules and we play them the way that I want to play them. So I got 32 MCU villains. Some of them I just remembered out of the top of my head. Some of them I got them from other lists. Put them in a list, put a random number generator on the side, and now we have a bracket. An interesting bracket. One where you'll be very disappointed early on, I think, because there's some. When it laid out, I was like, "Oh, these are tough decisions that are going to happen very early on in a 32 villain bracket." A couple things that I tried to stay within the window of. I did not. They've had to have existed in the MCU up to now, so I'm going to put Spider-Man in there. So, like, you can have some Spider-Man villains, but like. No fantastic. You're not going to get Doctor Doom. You're not going to get Magneto there until after the next Doctor Strange movie. Then we can put them all in there, but those don't exist. I've brought some people from the TV shows. So it's the whole span universe. I know people are going to be pissed at some of the people I put in and some of the people I left out. But whatever, it's my game. So without further ado, the first two that we had to decide on, and we'll get Christy's choice first. It's between Red Skull and Ego.
Okay, so is this like who could beat the other, or who's just cooler in general? Like,
I think it's who's the better the villain.
Yeah,
use your own criteria. There's no right.
Yeah, and that's just it. I know that there are some villains in here that, if you look in the future, are going to be badass villains in the MCU. So I can't lay down your criteria. Just in your base opinion, the better villain, is it Red Skull or Ego? If there's a tie, then I will break the tie. But we'll see how that works out.
Oh no, Ego's a better villain. Red Skull's kind of a wimp, actually. So
I like it. Interesting. Dave, what do you think? Is Ego
I don't think Red Skull's a wimp, but Ego is Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
it's Ego.
I mean, that is a fair argument. Kurt Russell for the win. Maybe not Red Skull necessarily, but Kurt Russell for the win. All right. I would have probably gone with Ego too. I think visually Red Skull is probably a better character to look at visually, and they probably could have done Red Skull better numerous different times. The best he ever did was in a small tidbit in Infinity Wars.
Yeah.
That was his best role. If he was always like that, he would have beaten Ego, but you're right.
It played by two different guys.
Right.
Red Skull's two different guys anyway. So you're going Russell? Yeah. This one is one I thought was going to be weird. I thought both of these people would make it farther to the end, but one of them won't. Dave, Kingpin or Loki? That sucks. That really sucks.
right.
Because I think Kingpin in general is a better bad guy than Loki, but in the MCU, because we're talking MCU, it's Loki because he means more to the MCU than Kingpin. Kingpin's been in a handful of shows. Loki is a dynamic thread through the entire MCU. So I like Kingpin better as a villain outside of the MCU, but if we're talking just MCU. Loki.
All right, Christy.
Well, and that's hard because I like Loki as a character, but he's not necessarily like a fantastic villain to me. But my only reference of Kingpin is into the the Spider-Verse one, okay. Miles Morales, right? Mm-hmm. So based on that small perspective, I would probably still pick Loki, mostly because I also want to see how far Loki can go.
No, it's a fair choice. I gotta be honest with you guys, I was actually kind of underdogging, hoping that Kingpin could beat out Loki. If it was a tiebreak, if you guys were tied on it, I would have gone Kingpin, quite honestly. And my thing is because even when he was a villain, Loki was like, I don't know, he wasn't even that great of a villain when he was a villain. You know what I mean? Like he screwed up worse than like other villains. But I respect Loki's ability to survive another day because he's still
that's it perfectly. Loki can survive another day. Like he may not be the best villain or very powerful, but that the guy can survive.
Right. He has that ability to, so then that carries him on. All right. Next one is Zemu from Falcon and Winter Soldier, or not Falcon and Winter. Well, yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And Civil War.
Or Wenwu from 12 Rings. And it goes with Christy, you start.
I only saw 12 Rings once. He's the bad guy in 12 Rings.
Yeah.
He's the Mandarin.
The Mandarin, like the real Mandarin, not the Iron Man Mandarin, the real Mandarin.
Yeah, the real Mandarin.
Okay. No, 12 Rings that movie was pretty badass. Shoot. Yeah, no, the guy from 12 Rings. I'm gonna.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, what are you gonna say on this one?
All right. I think we need our first tiebreaker, man, because I'm going the dance master himself, Tarantino.
So yeah,
he's a better dancer.
Tiebreaker, I gotta be honest, I didn't like Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a show. I thought Zemu was the weakest of any villain that has shown up in the MCU because I did not even care about the Civil War. Like, Civil War could have ended after they were at the plane fight where Spider-Man showed up, and I would be like, that was a great movie because I didn't even remember who the villain was up until that point. So yeah, Wenwu, in my mind, takes it. He is a villain that I have sympathy for, and I remember that he's in the movie. So those two things. I respect
your decision.
I do like a sympathetic villain.
Yeah. The best kind of villains are the sympathetic ones. All right, next Dave, the Grandmaster versus Killmonger.
Killmonger. Oh, he's like one of my favorite villains of all the MCU.
There you go, Christy.
I'm drawing a blank on both of those. What movies are they in?
Killmonger's Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Michael B. Jordan.
Okay.
And the Grandmaster is from Thor. It's
it's
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff Goldblum was hella entertaining.
Yeah.
But I literally just said I like a sympathetic villain, and so I gotta go Killmonger.
Yeah, I mean Jeff Goldblum deserved to be on the list, but there's not a lot of people on this list that I think the Grandmaster, the character moves on. Jeff Goldblum by himself, maybe, but like, yeah.
God, Thor is so good. Thor Ragnarok was amazing, and I can't wait for Thor: Love and Thunder with Natalie Portman as Lady Thor. Taika Waititi, so fucking good.
The first two Thors would never make me think I'd ever say that.
Yeah, for
sure. Like, oh, Thor was such a good movie. You know, Thor was the movie I had to watch to understand what was going on in the rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hope that got better, and then it just got super better all of a sudden. Like, they're like, here are two shitty movies and an amazing movie. I'm like, oh, great! Now I had to watch all your movies.
What's brilliant about fucking Kevin Feige is like, so what are our worst movies? Okay, let's make them the most important movies to make everybody go watch these fucking movies. Everybody knows that Thor 2 fucking sucked, but it is
You
so
have to
important,
watch it.
even now
Mhm.
to the MCU timeline. It's
Right.
like, oh, you thought that movie sucked? Well, we're gonna make you watch it because it is very important.
Right. It's intricate to what's happening.
Yeah.
Irritating. All right. So the next one to Christy, it is Alexander Pierce or Robert Redford's character in the MCU versus Agatha Harkness.
Ooh, it was Agatha all along.
Agatha all along. I'm going with that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was a pretty easy one. I thought Robert Redford against a couple different people could have carried it a little farther, but no.
What's awesome is that that character is so popular that they're making her a real important part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'll be interesting what they do with her. All right, so Dave, this one should be easy. Thanos versus Taskmaster.
Thanos.
Christy.
Thanos.
Yeah. See what I mean? Some of them were really easy setups. So, all right, Christy, we've got Caecilius from Doctor Strange and Jan Rong from Captain Marvel. So, like Jude Law versus the guy with the weird eyes in the Doctor Strange world.
God, and both of those movies were
Mads Mikkelsen.
very, very low. Huh?
Mads Mikkelsen. That was the name. That was the guy who played the Doctor Strange villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not super familiar with either of them. Both of those movies for me were pretty forgettable. So I'm gonna go with Jude Law because it's Jude Law. That guy, that villain.
A fair way to go, Dave.
I'm gonna go Caecilius, man. I thought he was a cooler villain. Like Jude Law, you saw from the moment he was on the screen, like, yeah, he's a villain, so it wasn't like any big reveal to me. But Caecilius, he was a pretty good villain. Like the shit he did worked. The effects around him, his magic was very cool. They both got their asses kicked at the end of the day, but I thought Caecilius was kind of cooler in the meantime.
I think I'm gonna go with I think honestly I was gonna go with Captain Marvel. I was gonna go with Jude Law just as well, but actually I think Dave made a really good argument for Caecilius. So Caecilius gets to move on through the list. Now I want to rewatch it and give him more credit as a villain than I did the first time. All right.
I'm going to break in. Rob Robert also agrees with us about Killmonger being a better villain as well.
Nice.
Oh, good.
All right. So the next two, and I think it goes to Dave. Are we back at you, Dave?
Yeah, I think so.
Claw. So the white guy from Black Panther and Ultron.
That's got to be Ultron, even though I liked Andy Serkis as Ulysses Claw. As Ultron is Ultron. He fucking tore up a city. Ulysses Claw would just made some funny jokes. Really, that's it. He stole some
he's James
vibranium.
Spader.
Yeah,
James Spader. So that's a pretty strong one. Christy.
Oh yeah, Ultron. Yeah, definitely a top tier villain for me. I mean, the movie kind of did him dirty a little bit, but yeah, Ultron.
There you go. All right, that one was pretty easy. All right, Christy, you got Mysterio from Spider-Man versus Hela from Thor.
It's Hela every time. Hela is one of my favorites. I would pick her over some of the MCU heroes.
Interesting. All right, Dave, is Hela making it through easily?
This is a real tough one because I love Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. So good, so fucking good. That up until No Way Home, that was my favorite Spider-Man movie, like live action one. But he's not nearly as good as Hela. Hela is so fucking amazing. And once again, we go back to that Thor 3. Like fucking Hela is one of the top villains in the MCU of all of them. She'll get to the last rounds. But that doesn't say Mysterio wasn't good. He just wasn't as good as Hela.
Yep.
Yeah. They each only had one movie to build their character, and Hela was just a stronger character in a single movie. You know what I mean? Mysterio was
kind of a shame that she lost at the end. She's it would be nice to have her come back somehow, but she was great.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be able to beat her any other way. So.
Yeah, I know. I totally get it. But it's people like fucking Benzino that he's not a great villain, but he continues throughout. He's a common thread throughout. And then you have characters like Hela who are just fucking amazing, but they don't continue beyond that one show or that one movie. So
right, they get that solid movie, and that's fine. That's what some characters you want to have that happen. All right, Dave, Yellow Jacket, so the villain from the original Ant-Man. And then Killian, Aldrich Killian, the bad guy from Iron Man 3. The one who hired the fake man. So two businessmen. Who's the worst? Who's the Jeff Bezos out of those two, Dave?
I'll go Killian just because he was at least somewhat memorable, and his storyline was a tad bit better than Yellow Jacket, so I'll just go with him. And he caught on fire or something like that. That was good.
Christy? Yeah, I was gonna go Yellow Jacket, but Dave made a good enough point that he swung my vote. So yeah, Killian.
There you go. Killian makes it to the next round. Some people have.
I really hope he loses in the next round because he's like the most forgettable of every fucking villain.
Right. All right. Next, Christy, we've got Nebula versus King the Conqueror. Even though we haven't had a full introduction of the name King the Conqueror, he's in the universe. We're gonna play him as potential energy. It's almost a bet. Nebula versus King the Conqueror.
That's hard because I don't know much about King the Conqueror yet. And Nebula is one of those sympathetic villains for me, but she's also like still kind of flat. She's not super Nebula. That's a hard one.
What are you in a potential energy or future energy?
The thing is, we're going up against what is up to now, and Nebula has been a better villain up to now. We got a little taste of him of what's his face in Loki, but King the Conqueror. We'll see more of him in the future. So in a year from now, we do the same thing. Then maybe he's a super powerful villain. But
we're about to see him in Strange in a month. He's in Doctor Strange. He'll be there in a month. You know what I mean? It's about to. We may have to relook at this list, and we will all be like, "Oh, King," but no. Nebula.
We picked Nebula. What?
Right. Yeah. Right. But she's Amy Pond to me, so to me, she's still traveling with the Doctor. All right.
Rob Roberts also agrees Nebula and Hela and Ultron. He's going along with us with all his answers. Yeah. He must be doing something smart.
For the right thing. All right. Dave, you got Obadiah Stone versus Whiplash. You got Iron Man 1 versus Iron Man 2.
Obadiah. I don't really need to give much of it because I don't really care too much about him. So Obadiah is better.
Christy?
I want Whiplash just to see who you're gonna tie break.
So I want to pick Whiplash, but even as I thought about this, when I saw it laid out, I was like, Obadiah was a better villain. And had Iron Man came, I think, farther along in how they were doing the MCU, and it was made 10 years after the start of the MCU, they would have given Obadiah so much more, but he worked with so much of what he had so well. So, I have to give it to Obadiah.
Okay.
Again, with no conviction. Rob Roberts says Whiplash.
Oh, see?
It's
but I mean, I don't have a super strong argument other than more visually compelling, maybe. I don't know.
Here's one. You got the Green Goblin versus Kilgrave. So you got David Tennant versus Willem Dafoe. That's for you, Christy.
What? I don't want to go first.
That's how this game's working. That's how it's been going the whole time we've been playing. These aren't new rules.
I know, but okay, I need to think for a second, and it's hard to think when people are staring at you. I love William Dafoe. Willem. I always say that wrong. No, Goblin.
Yeah.
Goblin.
There you go. Which sucks is Kilgrave and Jessica Jones. A really smart, brilliant villain, and it's played by David Tennant, who I absolutely love. But the Doctor is no longer on the show. All right, Dave, you get some weird ones sometimes. You get to choose between Justin Hammer, another Iron Man bad guy, and Aisha, the leader of the Nova Corps.
Hammer. It's hammer time.
Christy, what are you gonna say?
I like Hammer Time, but he's not gonna go very far in the overall bracket.
All right, Hammer Time makes it into the next round of the bracket. All right, Christy, you got to go between Vulture and Ronan.
Ooh.
God, Ronan's cool, but Vulture's that sympathetic character villain angle I like.
And he's Batman.
I don't know.
He's also Batman.
I know. Michael Keaton. God.
What are you eating?
What?
Oh, I'm eating, yeah.
What are you eating? Jay.
Couscous.
I'm gonna go Ronan just because Ronan is just stuck with me. I know he was only in the one movie, but I don't know. Something about Ronan.
Ronan did kind of stand out. He was a pretty good character. Dave, are you with us still? My eating literally froze Dave. Like
you broke it.
He's like, "What are you eating?" And he just stopped. That was it. Interesting. So, if I was to throw a vote in here, I would.
Just have a dinner.
Dave's back. All right, Dave, are you back? No. All right, so me and you, Christy. All right, so Dave doesn't even get to vote in the Vulture versus Ronan because I'm going to go with Ronan too. I think Ronan was he stood out. He was our first real space villain that we got the most of. He was strong. So. Mm-hmm. Dave, are you back? Are you shaking your head? Do you disagree?
Hey, man, it is not a Mile High podcast without me having some fucked up technical problems. So, as much as things have changed, James, some things have not changed at all. I still have that. I don't know if you guys are still on the same dude, but I think Ronan's a better bad guy, and that's about that.
That's why I went with too. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave, and you get to finish off the first round. That'll be between Cottonmouth and Doc Ock. So you're dealing with Luke Cage versus fucking Dr. Otto Octavius.
All right. Doc Ock is going to win, but Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth and Luke Cage is fucking great. So good. That's my first introduction to Mahershala Ali. He's so fucking good in that show. Highly recommend it. It's on Disney Plus now. Go see Luke Cage. But Doc Ock is just a better villain. Just plain and simple.
Christy?
Yeah, no, Doc Ock might be my favorite Spider-Man villain to this point. I like Doc Ock. Doc Ock for the win.
Rob Roberts said that I shouldn't have asked you the question about what you were eating because as soon as I asked you, I froze up.
That's what we were saying. We said the same thing. We were like, well, my eating literally froze Dave out of the show. All right. So we're starting back again. Now we're down to our top 16. Our top 16 are Ego, Loki, Winwu, Killmonger, Agatha, Thanos, Chrysalis from Doctor Strange, Ultron, Hela, Killian, Nebula, Obadiah, the Green Goblin, Justin Hammer, Ronan, and Doc Ock. Those are your top 16.
I'm pretty confident that it'll be a pretty quick round.
Yeah.
The matchups are pretty weighted towards that way.
Well, Christy is the first one. Ego versus Loki.
Shit.
Just like I said.
Okay, maybe not this. Okay, no, Loki's a cockroach. Loki's moving on to the next round for me.
There you go, Dave.
Loki's too important to the MCU. I like Kurt Russell, but Loki's better.
Loki has a Superman problem. He is so ultra powerful within the MCU universe. Can he lose this to anyone? All right, Dave. You got Wenwu versus Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Christy?
Christy. I had to think about it. Sorry.
I was like, did Christy freeze herself?
I would have. If you would have gone Wenwu, I would have backed that one up though. Just to let you know, if one of you had gone Wenwu, I would have gone Wenwu for the win. So, all right, Christy, you get Agatha Harkness versus Thanos.
Whoa, that's a good one.
I mean, that just seems like a boot stomping on a spider. I mean, Thanos is just too powerful.
Yeah.
And super important. Like Agatha's fun and I can't wait to see what they do with her, but Thanos is just too important.
Yeah.
Dave, same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. So Agatha, it wasn't Agatha all along. She is out. She did not even make it to the third round. All right, Dave, you get Casilus from Doctor Strange. I'm saying the name worse and worse every time. And then Ultron. Christy?
Ultron.
Perfect. I can't keep saying that name wrong. So Ultron beats the Doctor Strange bad guy. All right. Christy, you got Hela versus Killian.
Hela.
Dave.
Yeah.
Hela. See, some of these are no questions.
Mm-hmm.
This round is easier than the last round was.
Which is weird. There were some that, like I said, the way it played out, there were tough choices in there originally. Dave, Nebula versus Obadiah.
Nebula.
Christy?
Nebula. And that matchup for sure.
All right. Christy, Green Goblin versus Justin Hammer.
Green Goblin.
Yeah, these are so easy. Yeah, it's Green Goblin.
There you go. And Dave, Ronan
Dafoe against some dude I don't even know who played him. Yeah,
that's hard.
Hey, Dave, you got Doc Ock versus Ronan.
Doc Ock.
Christy?
Ronan.
Whoa. So Ronan is played by hold on, I must say Ronan is played by a dude named Lee Pace. Lee Pace was in a brilliant fucking show in the early 2000s called Pushing Daisies. It is on HBO Plus. Go and watch that fucking show. It is absolutely incredible. Way ahead of its time. It got canceled midway through the second season, but it's so ahead of its time. It's brilliant. And had Lee Pace, who was also
That's what's her name from New Girl, right?
Zooey Deschanel is not Zooey Deschanel.
Who is it? Is she some cute?
I don't know. It's some girl that you never see ever again.
No.
Similar to,
but it's a great
Zoe.
show.
I'll give you that.
There you go. Well, there you go. All right. So, it's my choice though. Ooh, Ronan and Doc Ock. To me, it's Doc Ock. It would not have been Doc Ock. I mean, the only reason he's on this list is because of the most recent Spider-Man movie. But the performance of that Spider-Man movie gets Doc Ock at least to the next round.
Rob Roberts actually went Ronan.
Love for Ronan out there.
Yeah.
All right. We're down to our top 8. This time I'm not going to read them off. We're just going to do it in order because I think that ruined some of the surprise last time. So, Christy, you've got Loki versus Killmonger.
That would be a really, really good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to have to keep pushing Loki through, though. There's just something about Loki.
There you go. Dave, are you going to push this Loki get to stay in it, or do I have to break him?
I love Killmonger, man. Rob Roberts says Loki. I go Killmonger. Just a better villain. Just a better
Up to
villain.
you, dude.
Loki's a goofball, and fucking Michael B. Jordan brings so much earnesty to like this villain. This is like one of the only villains. You're like, I could totally see why this guy became a villain. This guy got fucked over his entire life.
Yeah, but you know what? I gotta say this. Killmonger did not get enough time in that movie to show the depth of his villainry. It didn't. We have built Loki through so many different levels. I just maybe had there been 2 Black Panthers, maybe a Killmonger had shown up in a different movie along with it and give more to that character, he would have stayed farther from me. But Loki moves on.
That's totally fair, totally legitimate argument.
That could be exactly it.
Yeah, I just like his performance. Such a good one, but I totally get it.
Yeah, no, he just the depth just hadn't crossed there yet. All right, Dave. Fair. Thanos versus Ultron. You have an Avengers battle.
Thanos. Ultron was cool as fuck, but Thanos literally snapped away half the universe.
There you go, Christy.
Yeah.
All right. Thanos continues. Loki and Thanos make it.
Ooh, Rob Roberts goes Ultron.
Ooh.
Weird push on that. All right. Christy, you got Hela versus Nebula.
Hela. By Nebula.
Dave.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I was reading the comments.
Hela versus Nebula. Then you
Hela. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, Hela. Hela all day. If she's not in the final 2, I'll be shocked.
Agreed.
All right. Nebula is gone. All Doctor Who actors are now out of the show.
Oh, darn.
And we have a Spider-Man battle. Dave, Green Goblin versus Doc Ock.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm going to say Green Goblin because William Dafoe just plays such a good bad guy. And he fucking kills Aunt May. Spoilers.
You're supposed to say spoilers before you say what happened.
I have no sympathy for people who don't know what I'm talking about. The movie's been out for months now. If you still don't have any idea that Aunt May dies and that the other Peter Parkers come to the show, tough shit. You should have seen the movie.
There you go.
I literally just said that to Mike the other day. He was watching TV and the Spider-Man, what's the new one? No Way Home?
Yeah.
The preview came on, it was all 3 Spider-Man. I'm like, spoiler alert. And Mike's like, what? I'm like, nothing. Mike hasn't seen it yet. It's fine. Yeah, no, Green Goblin.
Well, he's watching, so sorry, Mike. Spoiled the movie for you, bro.
All right. We have our final 4, and it's an interesting break of how it's going out. We have what I would consider old school Marvel versus, well, no, they're all kind of old school Marvel. Christy, your first choice is Loki versus Thanos.
Oh, well, I mean, we saw Thanos destroy Loki.
That's not so fair.
But barring that, shit, Thanos.
Ooh, a point for Thanos, Dave. Does Thanos make it to the final?
Thanos literally killed Loki, so Thanos?
It's a hard argument to go against. I mean, like, yeah, that's a hard argument to go against. So Loki did not survive after all. Hopefully the variant makes it out and just
good pull.
He'll be back anyway. He didn't make it. He'll still be back.
They have a season 2 of Loki coming up, so you know he's not dead.
So Loki's fine. Don't worry about Loki. All right, Dave. Hela versus the Green Goblin.
Hela, of course. The final 2 are exactly who I thought it was going to be at the very beginning. And this is the way they should be. I know
exactly who I'm going to pick in the final 2 too.
I know you are. This is where the show gets good because I know we have differing answers.
Thanos' goal was to marry Hela in the comics. Like, this was a big deal for Thanos. So, like, this is the ultimate comic power couple of villainry at our final 2. Now, it hasn't existed in the MCU, but it's interesting they both made it to the end. That would be kind of cool to see. Christy, Thanos versus Hela.
Hela could have kicked Thanos's ass had the Ragnarok thing that happened. It's Hela. It's my girl Hela.
Ooh, so Dave, it's down to you. Is it good? Do I have to break this tie, or is it?
You're definitely gonna have to break this tie. Okay. So this is where I'm coming from. Hela is probably my favorite MCU villain. But if we're talking the best villain, and my criteria is also like how important they are to the entire MCU. Thanos set everything in motion. Everything that happened in Ragnarok was started by Thanos. Everything that happened in the entire MCU was determined by Thanos. And then he got what he wanted, and he snapped away half of all living things in the universe. So Hela might have beaten him. He literally killed trillions and trillions of people all over the universe. It wasn't for Thanos, there would be no Ragnarok. I mean, he set all these things in motion. As a villain who is the most important, Thanos has got to be Hela. And I love Hela so much, but Thanos is just too important to the overall MCU, and he was a really good bad guy.
That's a pretty fair argument. I'd like to know, since you're looking at the comments, Dave, I'd like to know what has been said on our comment stream. Do any of our other watchers have anything to say about where they're going with it before I make my decision? Do any of our followers have anything to say?
My dog is like in my room, like, sorry, she like started eating something. Like, what is she eating? So it freaked me out a little bit. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, in the comments.
Everything's fine.
In the comments, Dave, is any what's the vote look like in the comments? What's
Rob Roberts is with you.
Still Hela.
Still Hela. Interesting.
Let me plead my case, because I see Dave's point that Thanos is super important to the MCU, but we didn't take that kind of stuff into consideration through all the other matches. So I've focused on Thanos being a villain and Hela being a villain. And Hela is just fucking wicked cool. And I just like Thanos is like, he's got his morally gray reasoning for doing things, but Hela's like up front, like, I just want to be in charge of everything. I'm so powerful. I'm the best, blah, blah, blah. And she fucking is. Hela's just cooler. I'm sorry. I don't care about their importance in MCU. Hela is just a cooler villain, and that's why I'm picking her.
Well, here's one more point for you.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you kind of understand where Thanos is coming from. You kind of like,
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I totally get that. Even in Infinity War and the last one, what the fuck it was called? Thanos. Everything that Thanos did, the Earth got better. Everything started becoming better. Yeah, half the population was gone, but everything was better. And you're like, I understand where Thanos is coming from, so I don't necessarily see him as like, talk about sympathetic. Like, you see what this guy did. He accomplished what he does. What very few bad guys accomplished their goal is they always get thwarted at the end. He actually accomplished his goal. And then you're like, he was right.
Okay, I have my decision.
That's an amazing villain. Okay.
I have my decision. All right. Both are absolutely wonderful villains. I am going to go down to Hela's ability to do most of this on her own. She created, even the army she created that fucking army with her own power. Thanos took a lot of different people, took a lot of different time to go different ways. They're both very powerful beings. They're both Thanos is far more integral to the MCU and everything than Hela at all could possibly be. But my deciding factor, as you guys was discussing it, was what it took to beat them in the end. Now, Thanos, you had to travel through time, and that is a huge feat to make that happen. Hela, you had to destroy an entire planet to be able to beat her. Also a big feat. In the end, a giant fire monster had to take down Hela, and Tony Stark just had to pickpocket Thanos. So the winner of the best villain is Hela. That's it. Thanos did not make it all the way to the end.
She's great. She's a great villain. Totally.
Dave, I don't. You're frozen with this great look on your face, so I can hear your voice, but you're
great.
You have this look like losing. Thanos losing. Broke. I just stayed there for like 2 minutes. It was great.
I needed a new computer. Fuck my computer. All right, let's go before I embarrass myself anymore.
Well, that is it, guys. We did it. We made it all the way to the end. Thanos did not win yet again. Hela came out of nowhere. You know, like it was a strong argument for her. The more I thought about like these, some people made it farther than I expected them to, and if I would not have thought these were going to be the final two. I was thinking Thanos and Green Goblin could possibly make it to the final two. I thought those were pretty strong characters, so I'm surprised. I'm surprised at where things are sitting.
No, but I knew Dave and I were both pretty big Hela fans. I thought she'd go far.
There you go. There you go. Well, Dave, I have this feeling like there's something important that has just released. I don't know where I'm getting it from, but I feel like there's something important that you should like put out there that you should let our listeners know about.
Yes. Race to Space Event Horizon 3, the final book of my series, is out now. It's available on ebook and in paperback off of Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Nook, Kubo, anywhere you can get the paperback or anywhere you get ebook. It's a great fucking book. I wrap everything up. I put a bunch of cool Easter eggs in. Christy, I don't know if you've read it yet, but you would definitely need to read it because I threw you a little Easter egg inside this book. So, you know, it's very personal to me because, you know, I've been writing the series for a long time. My whole life has literally changed since the moment I first started writing this book. So I'm so excited to put it out. It's a great end to a great series. I hope we can see its potential. Please like it, share it. I'll be sending the links out. Please send it to everybody you know. Please check it out. Please review it. It's a great book. Everybody should read it. And thank you to everybody who helped me in the writing of this book. So many people I have the best family and a bunch of friends. On the back of my last book, I had a picture of Christy at my book launch party from a couple years ago. I mean, I have the most supportive family in the world. So thank you, everybody. This book was dedicated to my kid. It's a love letter to my kid. So
very cool.
Buy my book.
Buy Dave's book and like and subscribe and follow us on every place that you can follow us on. And give us money at, I don't remember what it is, Dave. Where do they give us money?
Truckee Pacific 303. It's been a long time, brother.
Truckee, at Venmo.com, right?
Venmo, yep.
There you go. Truckee Pacific 303. Like and subscribe. Follow us everywhere. Some things are changing. Some things are new. I'm back a little bit. And we're going to do some really cool stuff. Dave, Christy, you got anything to say?
Potter Girls Podcast Wednesday at 6. We're gonna be talking some book stuff. I know our book stuff's popular with our little group of friends, so it was a big hit for us last time we did a book episode. So
nice,
yeah, cool,
nice. Dave, anything else you know?
No, we have some cool episodes coming up. We have the synthetic cannabis show that we'll try Kratom and Kava. Some of those, you see those fucking stores everywhere. So we'll do an episode where we kind of review that, kind of like we did with our Shroom show last year. We'll have some Ask the Expert shows. We are going to have another all-women show. So we have a bunch of stuff coming up. Schedule might be a little funky because we all got different things going on. But James, I'm so glad you're back. The show is definitely better with you here. So I'm so glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back and good to see everybody. I'll see you guys again on the next show. Peace.
Thanks, guys.